Here is a question you will one day answer, whether you want to or not. What is the very last thing your brain does? Not your body, your brain. That 3-pound universe behind your eyes, where every thought and memory you have ever had is quietly humming right now. For almost all of history, the moment of death was a locked door, a line you crossed and never reported back from. Total darkness on the other side. But in the last few years, science has done something astonishing. It has started to peek through the keyhole, and what it found was not darkness at all. We tend to imagine dying as a light, simply switching off one moment on, the next moment nothing, silent, instant, empty. But the brain does not switch off like a lamp. It powers down like a vast city, street by street, in a strange and specific order. And in those final moments, right as the lights go down, something extraordinary seems to happen. A last brilliant surge, a storm of activity when there should be none. Scientists are only beginning to understand it, but the clues are real, they are measurable, and they change how we think about our final moment. To understand it, forget the dramatic single instant. Death is not one event. It is a process, a cascade that unfolds over minutes. When your heart stops, blood no longer carries oxygen to the brain, and the brain is the hungriest organ you own. It burns a fifth of all your energy just to exist. Starved of oxygen, brain cells cannot keep the peace any longer. Normally, they hold a careful electrical balance, whispering to each other in an orderly hush. But without fuel, that order collapses. And here is the twist. The collapse is not a quiet fade. At first, it is an explosion. In 2013, a neuroscientist named Jimo Borjigin was studying the brains of dying rats, and she saw something no one expected. In the seconds after the heart stopped, the brain did not go quiet. It lit up, a huge organized surge of the very brainwaves linked to sharp, vivid conscious experience. These were gamma waves, the fast rhythm your brain makes when you are most awake, most focused, most intensely aware. And they were spiking at the moment of death. It was as if the dying brain, cut off from the world, threw everything it had left into one final blazing burst of activity. Years later, her team saw hints of the very same thing in dying human patients. In some brains, that gamma surge appeared again in the regions tied to memory and awareness. A brain that, by every measure, should have been going dark was instead flaring in the exact pattern of a mind that is intensely, vividly experiencing something. And where did this surge light up the brightest? In the areas that handle memory, meaning, and the sense of being someone. Which raises a haunting possibility. If those regions are firing in a storm at the end, what are they doing? What is that surge made of? Nobody can say for certain, but it lines up eerily with the stories of people who have come close to death and come back. For centuries, survivors of near death have told strangely similar tales, a feeling of deep peace, a sense of floating, and above all, memories. Not just one memory, a flood of them. People describe their life flashing past, vivid scenes rising up all at once, as if time itself had folded open. A first birthday, a lost friend, an ordinary afternoon they had not thought of in decades, all rushing back in a single bright cascade. For a long time, this was dismissed as pure fantasy, but now the brain data whispers something unsettling. Maybe the life review is real activity we can measure. Perhaps that final gamma storm sweeping through the memory centers is the brain replaying itself, firing through a lifetime of moments as the lights go down. There may also be a chemical side to this final experience. Your brain runs on a soup of signaling molecules, and as it dies, that careful chemistry is thrown wide open. Some scientists point to a molecule the brain itself may release, a powerful natural compound linked to the most vivid dream-like states the mind can produce. It is the same family of experience people report on the edge of consciousness, a sense of light, a vastness of meaning almost too big for words. Whether the dying brain truly floods with such a molecule is still fiercely debated. The evidence is thin, and honest scientists say so plainly. But it points at something real. The final experience, whatever it is, may be shaped as much by a storm of chemistry as by a storm of electricity. Electricity and chemistry, memory and feeling, all breaking loose at once. The most ordinary organ you own, having the most extraordinary moment of its life. But why? Why would a dying brain, starved and collapsing, spend its last spark on a flood of memories? Nobody fully knows, but there are ideas. One thought is simple and almost sad. It may be an accident. As the careful balance breaks down, everything fires at once and old memories light up like a final short circuit. Another idea is stranger and more beautiful, that the brain, facing the ultimate crisis, does what it always does in a crisis. It searches its memories for a way out. All your life, when danger strikes, your brain scans for anything similar, any lesson that might save you. Perhaps in death it does this one last time. A desperate final sweep through everything you have ever learned, everyone you have ever loved, looking for the one thing that could pull you back from the edge. If that is true, then the life review is not a gift or a punishment. It is your brain fighting for you, right to the very last second, in the only way it knows how. And there is one more strange detail. The parts of the brain do not die in a random order. They shut down along a very old map. The newest, most human parts, the ones that plan and worry and imagine the future, tend to fall silent early. The lights go out on your to-do list first. But the oldest, deepest parts, the ancient core that handles raw feeling and the simple sense of being alive, hold on the longest. They are the last flames to gutter out. So in a strange way, we may leave the world in reverse. The complicated modern mind fades first, and what remains at the very end is something simple, old, and deeply human. Now, a careful word. None of this proves anything about what comes after. Science can watch the brain flare, but it cannot follow where, if anywhere, the experience goes. What it does tell us is quieter, and in its own way just as powerful. That the end may not be a sudden nothing, that there may be a last, rich, inward moment. A moment built entirely out of your own life, not the world outside, but the world you carried inside you all along. Every face you loved, every place that felt like home. A small, ordinary day that quietly became who you are, gathered up one last time. If that is what waits at the end, then it changes something about right now, because the surge can only replay what you have actually lived. The memories that rise in that final storm will be the ones you are making today, this afternoon, this conversation, this unremarkable, precious moment. The dying brain does not reach for your possessions or your worries. It reaches again, for connection, for the people, for the love, for the light. Think about the ordinary things you rush past every single day. A shared meal, a hand on your shoulder, someone laughing at something only the two of you find funny. Those are not the small moments. Those may be the whole point. They are the frames that will glow the brightest when the projector runs for the final time. We spend so much of life waiting for the big events, the milestones, the someday. But the dying brain does not seem to reach for someday. It reaches for right here. So the real lesson from the edge of death is not really about death at all. It is a strange, tender instruction about how to live. Feel the real. Gather the moments worth replaying. Because one day, in a final bright cascade, your brain may show you the whole beautiful film you made. We began at a locked door and asked what your brain does at the very end. The answer, it seems, is that it turns to look back at you. Not with darkness, but with a last blazing burst of everything you were, a final act of a mind that spent its whole life trying to hold on to what it loved. You will never remember reading this in that moment, but maybe, in the last flicker, some quiet afternoon like this one will rise up, glowing, and be the last thing you ever see. So make them good, make them warm, make them worth the replay. Your final story is being written, one ordinary, beautiful day at a time.